Long before cities and farms, humans lived face to face with wild nature. They were wanderers, moving with the seasons, following rivers and animals. A cave. The earth itself was fierce. Forests stretched endlessly, filled with saber-toothed cats. Hunting was their greatest challenge. Stealth and skill were the keys to survival. The men prepared. The hunt was a delicate dance. Every movement had to be perfect. In a single moment, everything changed. The trio launched their attack, knowing the success of the hunt meant survival for all. After hours of tension and struggle, they succeeded. The hunt was over, and survival was secured for another day. The hunt was a success. Now, they could rest. The fire burned brightly as they shared the sport. The hunt was over, but the day was not. The wilderness never gave rest. Each new dawn's simming. The land was unforgiving, but they were relentless. Every step forward brought them closer to survival. In the wild, every encounter was a threat. They stood ready, knowing their survival depended on their ability to defend themselves. The predator charged, a final test of their skill and courage. They had to move as one, united in their struggle for survival. They had overcome the greatest challenge yet. But in the wilderness, victory was fleeting. The forest loomed ahead, thick with trees and vines. It was a place of both danger and opportunity. They stood still, listening to the forest. Every snap of a twig could be the sound of a predator close. The predator had revealed itself, its glowing eyes fixed on them. There was no choice now but to face it.
In a split second, the predator charged, and the male hunter threw his spear, knowing this was their only chance.
The predator fell, defeated by their strength and unity. But victory came at a price. The night fell, and they took a moment to rest. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. With their victory behind them, they pressed on, moving deeper into the wild. The journey was far. The swamp was treacherous. The ground shifted underfoot, and the air was thick with moisture. Every step. The cliff loomed before them, a vast canyon stretching into the unknown. The descent would be perilous. The descent was slow and careful. Every movement counted, and the wind made it harder to maintain them. They had made it. The canyon was behind them, but the journey was far from over. The river roared before them. Crossing it would not be easy. The water was swift and treacherous. The river was behind them, but the land ahead was no less treacherous. The rocks were slippery, and the footing audacious. In the wild, every movement counted. The trio moved quietly, planning their next strike with. The moment of truth was here. The trio gathered their strength, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. In perfect synchrony, the trio surged forward. The attack was fast and precise. Each move. The predator faced them now, its anger clear. This would be the final test. Whoever faltered would not survive. The trio moved as one, striking with precision. The predator charged, but they were ready. The predator was not yet defeated, but the trio stood firm, knowing that this would be the final moment of the battle. The battle was over. The predator lay defeated, and the trio stood victorious. They had faced the journey was far from over. The path ahead was treacherous, but the trio pressed on, each step an affirmation of their resolve. A steep climb lay ahead. The cliff was tall and challenging, but they had faced worse. With prep, they had made it. The climb was tough, but the view was worth it. They stood at the top, ready for whatever came next. They kept moving forward. The journey was long and fraught with danger, but their unity gave them strength. The jungle was dense and unyielding, but they had no choice. They had to push through, no matter how difficult the path ahead. They had found shelter. The cave offered protection from the wild, but it was only temporary. Christmas. As the fire crackled, the trio rested. Tomorrow would be another day in the wilderness, and they would face it together. The morning sun filtered through the cave entrance. Another day, another challenge. They were ready, their strength drawn from each other. The animals stood before them, unaware of their presence. The trio held their breath, waiting for the right moment to act. In perfect harmony, the trio struck. The animal reacted with speed, but it was no match for their teamwork and skill.
They continued deeper into the wilderness. The forest was dense, the trees towering above them. But
the river ahead was wide and fast. The current was powerful, and crossing it wouldn't be easy. They had to, with no other choice, they built a raft. The river was too dangerous to cross on foot, but together, they could make it. They had made it across. The raft had held strong, and the current was no longer an obstacle. But their journey was far from over. The jungle was dense, the path nearly impossible to navigate. But the trio pressed on, their determination pushing them forward. The predator came out of nowhere, its eyes fixed on them. There was no time to hesitate. The trio had no choice. The battle raged on. The predator was fast, but the trio was faster. They moved as one, using their...
The predator was no more. They had survived the battle, but they knew that each victory in the wild...
Their journey was far from over. The wilderness was vast, but with each step, they grew stronger.